Hey everyone, it's Sarah, and today I am back to do another subscriber requested video. So I was recently asked to do a 20 for life video. 20 for life is a lot easier than like 5 or even 10. I feel like I have a lot more room. These lists change every year. Like my 20 for life right now will be different from my 20 for life in a year. So it's kind of fun to do updated versions of these videos. But anyways, I'm gonna jump right in. I've got some good ones. I'm gonna start with a newer love. So I fell in love with this past winter, and because I revisited a decant that I had of it, and I absolutely fell in love. I immediately went and sought out a full bottle. The problem is this fragrance used to be like $260 or $240, something really, really crazy, because the vanilla in it is very, very expensive. And it was also in very short supply at that time, and it might still be, but when I picked my bottle up, they had marked this down to, I think, like $140, so I went ahead and snatched it. The fragrance that we're talking about is Gallagher Wicked Good. So this is basically 3 notes. It's chocolate, Madagascar vanilla, and tonka bean. And it's incredible. It is the best, hands down, the best chocolate fragrance I've ever smelled. It smells like chocolate, but without smelling like artificial chocolate. Like somehow a lot of chocolates can smell very, very artificial. This one does not. This smells like a rich, true, powdered, like cocoa powder. And then the warmth of the tonka bean, which also adds almost like a touch of powderiness. And then just the delicious, rich vanilla. It's just an incredible fragrance. The best chocolate fragrance on the market, in my opinion. I just adore it. I could not live without it. I reached for this thing so much over this past winter. I couldn't put it down. Like, this was one that lived on my desk because I couldn't stop wearing it. It's just everything that I love in a fragrance, and it's just incredible. So yeah, I could not live without Gallagher Wicked Good. Okay, I knew I had to have a coconut fragrance on this list because I adore coconut. I don't have a ton of like true coconut fragrances. It was a toss-up between this one and Sarah Jessica Parker Crush. But there's something about this one that I just like a touch better, so I went with this one. This is the Laura Mercier Almond Coconut Eau de Toilette. I fell in love with this by ordering a dupe oil of it from Sweet Essentials, and I'm hooked. I have been hooked on this since like the end of winter. It was still pretty cold out when I got that oil, I believe, and I've like been obsessed with it ever since. I love layering this over the oil. There's something about this. It's kind of like a more grown-up coconut. It's not like a super beachy coconut. It's not a juvenile smelling coconut. It's like a grown-up coconut. It's got that unsweet, kind of slightly powdered almond that really kind of tones down the coconut. This is not a sweet coconut either. It's not like it's not like a sweet Bath & Body Works smelling coconut, which I absolutely love. Do not get me wrong, I love a sweet coconut. But there's just something elevated smelling about this one, so I'm just obsessed with it. And this is the coconut I don't think I could live without. So anyways, that is Laura Mercier Almond Coconut. Next, this is the straight up floral on this list. In fact, I just talked about this when I did my top 5 florals. I talked about this fragrance. This is one of the florals. I've got a few florals on this list, but this is one of them that I could not live without. It's incredibly expensive, and I hate that, but I have been in love with this fragrance since I got it in my Scentbird like 2 years ago, and I still love it. I just think it's amazing. This is Roja Parfums. This is the Elixir Pour Femme Parfum, and there's something about this that is just amazing. It's got a million notes in it. It's got fruits and a ton of different flowers. It's got musks, and I think I don't even know, maybe some light woods in the base. It's got like raspberry and like every flower but it's got heliotrope in it too. So the heliotrope in it gives it just this very slight powderiness, which brings something, I don't know, it tones the florals down so it's not such an in-your-face floral. I don't know, every time I talk about this perfume, it's one that I want to say is not groundbreaking, but at the same time, I've never smelled anything else like it. So I guess for me, it kind of is groundbreaking. I've never smelled a floral done in this way. I'm sure there are other, well, I don't know. I've smelled a lot of perfume in my day, and I can't say that this smells like anything. It's just a beautiful, beautiful feminine floral. There's really nothing like it, and it performs incredibly. So anyways, that is, and this is not the Elixir one. This is the Essence. I think it's the Essence line that's like a lighter version of these. This is just the original Elixir Pour Femme. They actually have this on FragranceNet, and I am so tempted to buy a full bottle of it, but they're so dang expensive. But anyways, that is Roja, again, Elixir Pour Femme Parfum. Okay, next, this will be no surprise to anybody. I could not live without my Dior Addict. This is such an amazing perfume on so many levels. This is the most recent formulation. I do have the original formulation, the 2002 formulation, but I love the new formulation almost as much. It's not quite, doesn't have quite the depth that the 2002 formulation has, but it's still amazing. To me, this is mostly like a Tonka vanilla. I think it's got some orange blossom, but this is not a floral smelling perfume to me at all. This is basically like a warm Tonka. I love it. I love it so much. It's so cozy and so comforting. And this is one that even in the middle of the summertime, I will sometimes just pull it out and spray it on because I crave it. I just love it so much. It's worth, this is a fragrance that has been hyped to the moon and back, but is worth every single bit of the hype. It's amazing. So that is Dior Addict. I could not live without Dior Addict in any formulation. This one is one that they did not butcher, thank goodness. So I would take it in any formulation. Okay, this next one, this is an old signature of mine. I got 4 old signatures on this list because they're perfumes that I've loved for so many years that I couldn't live without them. But anyways, the first one is Hypnotic Poison from Dior. This is the original formulation. When it was a signature for me, I think this has been through 3 reformulations, I believe. When I bought it, it was probably like a 2007 bottle, and it was amazing. It was it was still an absolute beast, and it was way better than this most recent formulation. The most recent formulation just isn't that great. This original, oh my gosh, it's just amazing. This is like Jasmine. I think it's even got some tuberose in it if I remember correctly. But I know it's like Jasmine Sambac. It's got caraway in it. I just love it so much. It's so warm and slightly powdery and cozy and rich smelling. Vanilla. It's just beautiful. I adore this perfume. This is another one that has been hyped like crazy, but again, is worth every bit of the hype. I really, really wish that they hadn't messed this one up so badly because the newest formulation, it still smells good, but it's just not the same, and it performs terribly. So yeah, I will savor my original formulation bottle because yeah, it's so sad. It's funny because every once in a while I'll come across original formulation bottles of things on Mercari, and it's like I want to scream it to all of you. Oh my gosh, somebody get that bottle. It's an original formulation. I know you guys will totally appreciate it. But yeah, there's no way for me to like make an announcement. But anyways, yeah, that is Hypnotic Poison from Dior. I couldn't live without it. This next one, in fact, the next 2 are old signatures. This would be my fun citrusy fragrance that I couldn't live without. Again, this is an old signature. This is Moschino I Love Love. And I did not realize just how much I love this perfume until I picked this bottle up. I had been meaning to for years been meaning to repurchase this, and I just finally did like a couple of months ago. And I wore it for like 5 days straight a couple of months ago when I first got it. And I am obsessed with it. I love it. It smells a little bit like Dolce & Gabbana Light Blue, but it's so much better, in my opinion. It's so much better than Light Blue. It's got so much more depth to it than Light Blue. It's a heavier, like it's a heavier version of Light Blue, even though it's still like really fun and citrusy and fresh. It still has this really beautiful kind of heaviness to it. It performs like an absolute beast, and it's just amazing. I love it. It's got this like fizzy orange, yeah, it's got this like fizzy orange thing in the top. It smells really effervescent and just fun and juicy, and like it makes your mouth water almost. It's just, I just love it. So yeah, I couldn't live without this. This would definitely be one of my like go-to summertime fragrances. If I could only have 20 perfumes, this would definitely be one of them. So anyways, that is I Love Love from Moschino. And next is another old signature of mine. I went through an entire bottle of this. I repurchased a new bottle of it. I, for whatever reason, thought that I needed to declutter it because I wasn't reaching for it a ton. And then I bought this bottle, which is actually an original formulation bottle. So I'm perfectly happy to have this in my life. This is Pure Vanilla from Lavanila. This is a really complex vanilla fragrance. I don't think that this would be for everybody. Even my vanilla lovers out there, I don't know that this would be your cup of tea because it is quite a complex vanilla. It's got a lot of different notes in it, and it's not like it's not a gourmand vanilla. It's a very perfumey vanilla. Gosh, I love it so much though. It's an absolute beast. This is one that you only have to apply it once and you're good. It'll hang around all day. It's just an amazing vanilla. It's super warm, cozy, comforting. It's just everything I love in a perfume, and I knew I had to have a vanilla in this list because I would have to have a vanilla, obviously, in my life, and I think that this would be it, especially because it's easy to get. So anyways, that is Lavanila Pure Vanilla. Okay, next I have got a couple from Untamed. These were both like super quick loves for me. I knew immediately with both of these that I would not be able to live without them and that I would replace something else on my couldn't live without list to have both of these. The first one, and I'll tell you what I've replaced with both of them. The first one is called My Greek Lover. This is a new release from Untamed. This, I fell head over heels in love with this. Pretty immediately. This is, gosh, it's such a powerful, kind of slightly sweet, but really fresh and clean white floral. It's amazing. It kind of gives me Pure Poison vibes from Dior, but it's so much better. And that's what it replaced on this list is Pure Poison. I could totally live without Pure Poison. I could not live without this. This is a million times better. It outperforms Pure Poison, and it's so much more complex. It's got so much more soul to it than Pure Poison, but it fills that hole in my collection where I would need like a clean white floral. It's just amazing. This one is hard for me to explain. It's hard for me to put into words just how good it is. It kind of has a little bit of a vintage flair to it. It's clean though. It smells really sweet and clean on your skin. It's just incredible. That's My Greek Lover. The other one I could not live without is Mevlana. This, you can see the dent. I have sent a couple of decants off, so I haven't used every bit of this, but I have used quite a bit because I am obsessed with this fragrance. This is like fall in a bottle to me. This one is chocolate and Turkish coffee and rose water and Greek mastic. I would venture to say that I think that this perfume here has replaced Zoologist Bee for me as my favorite fragrance on the planet. I think if I could only have one fragrance for the rest of my life, this would probably be it. I can't imagine not having this in my life. It's just incredible. It's everything that I love in a fragrance. It's sweet and warm and cozy. Yeah, I think it's got like a powdered sugar, like a vanilla powdered sugar note in the bottom. So it's like sweet and warm and cozy. Again, it's got that kind of powdery chocolate smell. It's got coffee in it. It's got a little bit of the rose water. It is everything that I absolutely adore in a fragrance. I could not live without it. It's probably my favorite fragrance on the planet. So anyways, that is Untamed Mevlana. Could not live without either of those. Okay, this next one, this is one that this would have to be in my top 20 for life because my husband loves this fragrance so much. Every time I wear this, he asks me why this can't just be my signature, why I can't just wear it every day. And I do love this perfume. This would be the pear fragrance in my that I kept in my collection. This is Valentino Donna Acqua. And this is beautiful. This is pear and almond. And that's basically what I get from it, a sweet pear and almond. It's beautiful, it's sweet, it's warm, it's cozy. I absolutely adore pear. Pear is probably my favorite fruit in fragrance. And then the nuttiness, which brings such a coziness to it. I just adore it. It's an absolute beast. It performs like crazy. Every single fragrance, besides Wicked Good, and Wicked Good does hang around for a long time. It just wears closer to the skin, but you can still smell it all day. Yeah, every single perfume on this list is a really, really good performer. And this one is no different. It's amazing. I love it. This is a wonderful, cozy fragrance that you can wear in the high heat, which I am always looking for. Let me know if you guys want me to do an updated cozy fragrances for the warm weather video. I think I did one last year, but I could definitely do an updated one. But anyways, that is Valentino Donna Acqua, just a beauty. Okay, this next one. So this next one that I'm gonna talk about replaced, I'm pretty sure on my last like lifer list, I had Monsieur Cherie, the original formulation. But because it's almost impossible to find that anymore, and because this one performs so much better and gives me a similar experience, I definitely replaced it with this one here. This is Montal Rose Elixir. This is incredible. It smells, it's definitely not a dupe. It doesn't smell exactly like Monsieur Cherie, but it gives me the same kind of feeling. It's this really beautiful kind of cozy floral. I love it. This is an absolute beast. It's a Montal, so of course it's like nuclear. It lasts forever. I adore it, and it definitely fills that Monsieur Cherie hole, original formulation Monsieur Cherie hole. So yeah, I would not be able to live without this. It's incredible. So anyways, that is Rose Elixir from Montal. I had to have an amber in my collection. This was hard for me. I go back and forth between this one and the L'Artisan L'Eau d'Ambre Extreme, but I think if it really came down to it and I had to choose one, I think I would choose this one. I like this one just a bit better. This is Histoire de Parfum Ombre 114, and it's just an amazing amber. It's very similar to L'Eau d'Ambre Extreme from L'Artisan. They're both kind of sweet, vanilla heavy, smooth amber fragrances. They're both a pretty traditional smelling amber where you almost get that kind of musty cedar chest kind of feeling from it. And I love it. But this one and the L'Artisan one they're just a touch sweeter than say like Halston Amber Woman. And they're smoother because they've just got like a load of vanilla in them. I love them. Both of them are absolute beasts, so they perform really, really well. But yeah, I think if it really came down to it and I had to choose, I would probably choose Ombre 114. So there's that one. Okay, this next one, this is another amber, but it's another one I couldn't live without. And this one's it's a little bit of a different kind of amber. It's not like a traditional smelling amber, and it's got a really strong berry note in it. Sorry, let me tell you what we're talking about. That is Si Le Parfum from Armani. So this one is also an amazing performer. This one has a load of black currant in the top, but it kind of, that black currant kind of flows throughout all the way into the deep dry down. You just have this really beautiful, bright black currant note. So this is like a berry amber, which is why I love it so much. It's just such a unique amber. It's a little bit lighter, so this one I feel like can be worn any time of year. It's definitely on the heavier side because it is like an amber, but it's like a lighter amber and it's beautiful. This is one that I just will crave out of nowhere, even if it's super, super hot out. But like I said, this one can hold up in the heat because of that really bright black currant. I love it. It's amazing. I couldn't live without it. It's so hard to find. Now, actually, I think that this has been going in and out of stock on FragranceNet. I haven't checked for a while, but yeah, it's an amazing fragrance. So anyways, that is Si Le Parfum from Armani. This next one, this is the rose fragrance that I chose because I knew I would have to have a rose in my collection. And this is the one that immediately when I think of rose fragrances and which ones I couldn't live without, this right here is the one that I could not live without. This is Chloe Eau de Parfum, just the original Chloe. Well, the original reformulated Chloe, I should say, not like the old 90s Chloe. Oh my gosh, I love this though. This is like, it's just such a fresh, kind of slightly sweet, a little bit soapy, kind of slightly green rose. I love it. This is another one that it just is like, it smells so sophisticated to me. I know a lot of people out there really, really hate this one. I can definitely understand why. Yeah, because I could see this smelling really, really badly on some people. Like this one's gonna really depend on your skin chemistry. And I think that if this one doesn't work for you, it's gonna be really gross, honestly. I could see it going that way. Thankfully, I'm one of the people that this really works on and it just smells beautiful on my skin. And it's just such a beautiful fresh rose. So that is Chloe, just the original Chloe. I knew that I would not be able to live without this perfume. This is Ralph Lauren Blue. As soon as there's like the slightest hint of warmth in the air going into spring, this is the perfume that I crave and that I want to reach for. This is the reformulated version, but I don't even care. I think it's amazing even still. I would love to get my nose on an original, like a bottle of the original formulation, so I could see what the difference is. I've heard a lot of people say that the original formulation is like 1,000,000 times better. I wish I knew, but I love the reformulation just fine. This one performs really, really well on me too. I don't have any issues with performance and I love this. It's a sweet, light floral and I just adore it. It's a whole bunch of flowers. I think it's jasmine and I don't think it's got honeysuckle in it, but I get like a honeysuckle note. I really get this like light, sweet, fresh honeysuckle, even though it doesn't, I'm pretty sure it doesn't have honeysuckle. I think it's the jasmine that I'm actually smelling, but the way that it is blended with all of the other notes in it, it ends up smelling like honeysuckle to me and I adore it. I just love this fragrance so much. It's just beautiful. I could not live without it. This would be my go-to springtime floral if I could only have these 20 perfumes. So anyways, that is Ralph Lauren Blue. This next one will be no surprise to any of you. This is YSL Libre Intense. If I had to choose from all of the Libres, of course the Intense version is the one I would go with. I love this one. This one is so syrupy and sweet and honeyed smelling. Oh my gosh, this is orange blossom and lavender and vanilla. And it's just beautiful. It smells like syrupy sweet lavender, orange blossom, honey or something. It's so beautiful. It's just so warm. Again, it performs amazingly on me. This is one that can be worn any time of year, even the Intense version. I can get away with wearing this in the summertime. I just adore it. I could not live without it. I have every formulation of YSL Libre and I adore every single one of them. But the Intense is definitely like I couldn't live without it. So anyways, that is YSL Libre Intense. Next is another rose fragrance. This is the one that This is my favorite rose on the planet. I would never be able to live without this fragrance in my collection. I've had this in my collection since it launched, I believe in 2003. I've never been without a bottle of it, and I never will be. This is Stella McCartney's Stella. This is unfortunately the reformulated version because this is the one that's available. I do have a bottle of the, like an original formulation bottle of the Parfum, or I can't remember what it's called. And I do have, thanks to a dear subscriber and friend, I do have a mini and a roller ball of the original formulation as well. But Stella it's basically like rose. It might have some peony in the top, like maybe rose, peony, and amber in the base. There's something about this rose that is so special. I've had so many people tell me so many different fragrances smell like this. I think the closest one I've ever smelled was Rose Silences from Miller Harris. I think that's the closest thing I've ever smelled to Stella. But Stella is just its own perfume, and the new formulation is a shadow of its original self. But I can still smell it in there, and I just adore it. I love it so much. I cherish the bottle that I have of the original formulation Parfum one. So anyways, that is Stella. Could not ever live without it. Then I've got a couple of celebrity fragrances that I knew when I was looking through my collection. These are two that I could not live without. The first one is this one here. This is Jennifer Lopez Still. This is the fragrance that I'm wearing today. This is one of my favorite, easy to reach for fragrances in my collection. It came down to this or 1111 from Lake and Sky. And I feel like just for the ease of being able to find this, the affordability of it, this is the one that I chose because this is the most beautiful, like clean, slightly sweet, kind of zen tea fragrance. It's so easy to reach for. It's just, the bottle is a little bit awkward to spray, but I just love it. Oh my gosh, I just love it so much. It's a perfect fragrance. It is magical on me. I love it. It's just the perfect balance of sweet and clean. And it's even got like a calming aspect to it because of the tea. It's just perfect. I could not live without it. I reach for this all of the time. This is like my easy, I'm just gonna take a shower. I'm gonna be hanging around at home. I don't have a lot going on, so I just want something easy to reach for, and I know I'm gonna smell so good. This is that fragrance for me, so I couldn't live without it. So anyways, that is Still from Jennifer Lopez. And the next one is, this is hands down probably my favorite celebrity fragrance on the market. This is Britney Spears' Private Show. Somebody sent me this beautiful, huge tester bottle of this, and I am infatuated with this fragrance. This is everything I love in a perfume. This is sweet and creamy, and it's got coffee in it. It smells like a sweet, creamy coffee, really. It's so good. It's got a bunch of other notes in it, but that's what I smell when I smell it. And what I love about it is it's a lighter, kind of sweet, creamy, cozy, gourmand fragrance that can be worn in the heat as well. You can really get away with wearing this all year. It's definitely not super heavy. It's not gonna choke you out. I adore it. In fact, I find myself reaching for this a lot in the heat because I'm always looking for like a cozy fragrance that can be worn in the heat. And sometimes this just isn't heavy enough for me for the really cold months. So I find myself reaching for it more in warmer weather. It's amazing. I adore this perfume. It is my favorite celebrity fragrance. It's so good. So anyways, that is Britney Spears' Private Show. And then I struggled with this one. I went back and forth because I knew I could put something else in here because this one's kind of similar to Dior Addict. But I don't care. I couldn't live without this fragrance either. I adore it. This is YSL Manifesto. This is just one of my favorite fragrances. It smells similar to Addict, but it's a little bit lighter. It's got more vanilla in it than Addict, but it's still like this beautiful, sweet Tonka fragrance. And I love Tonka so much. It's probably one of my top 3 favorite notes. So yeah, I feel like I couldn't live without YSL Manifesto either. So anyways, guys, those are my top 20 for life fragrances, the 20 fragrances in my collection that I could not live without. I do hope that you all enjoyed this. If you did, don't forget to give it a big thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe before you leave, and I will see you in my next one.